It all started with a car parked just a hair over the line. I'm sitting at my kitchen window, coffee in hand, watching my wife, Emily Parker, ease our sedan into a spot that's deliberately, provocatively, 6 inches into our neighbor's driveway space. Emily's not careless, the kind of person who parallel parks with the precision of a geometry professor. 8 years of marriage taught me that when she does something this out of character, there's a plan. "Sweetheart, you're parked wrong," I call out, half laughing. She turns, her hazel eyes glinting with a smile that's not her usual warmth, but something sharper, like a predator sizing up its mark. "Trust me, James," she says, cool as ice. "I've got this." That tone, calm, calculated, dangerous, means Emily's hunting, and I'm just a spectator in whatever game she's playing. I'm James Carter, a freelance writer working from our cozy suburban home, where the biggest drama is usually who forgot to mow their lawn. But that Tuesday morning, trouble arrives in the form of Karen Mitchell, our HOA president, a wiry 50-something with a clipboard and an ego that screams, "I ruled the high school prom committee." Karen's been patrolling the neighborhood since we moved in 2 years ago, always measuring something: hedges, mailboxes, the moral fiber of anyone who dares breathe her air. She spots Emily's car and launches into action like a detective in a bad TV movie, snapping photos, pulling out a measuring tape, who carries that, and documenting the violation like it's evidence for a capital crime. 10 minutes later, she's at our door, fake smile plastered on, delivering a speech that drips with condescension. "Good morning. I'm Karen Mitchell, HOA president. Your vehicle violates Section 4.7 of our regulations. People like you need to respect community standards." She hands Emily a notice, official letterhead, paragraphs of threats, a $300 fine for encroachment and disrespect of property rights. 6 inches, $300. Emily reads it, nods, and says, "I understand." No argument, no questions, just serene acceptance that leaves Karen visibly rattled. She wanted a fight. Instead, she got a closed door and a mystery. I watch from the window as Karen lingers on our porch, confused, like a boxer who swung and missed. Little does she know, she's just stepped into Emily's trap. Emily's not just my wife's a police detective who specializes in financial fraud, a fact our neighbors don't know. To them, she's just the quiet woman who leaves for work at regular hours and avoids neighborhood gossip. But I've seen her in work mode, and it's terrifying in its precision. That evening, as she makes a sandwich like nothing happened, I press her. "What's this about?" She smirks, that hunter's smirk. Sometimes you let people show you who they are before you deal with them. I don't push when Emily's playing chess. I'm lucky to understand checkers. Over the next few days, Karen escalates. A letter arrives in a font so passive-aggressive it practically sneers, from Mitchell Enforcement Services, demanding compliance and referencing Emily's lifestyle and social media presence. It's bizarre. Emily thinks social media is a waste of brain cells, and her priciest hobby is collecting criminology books. The letter paints her as some flaunting influencer, dripping with wealth and entitlement. Emily laughs, genuinely amused, and files it in a folder I recognize from her work cases. "She's got the wrong person," Emily says, eyes gleaming. Game on, Karen Mitchell. Karen's campaign intensifies. She recruits Tom Harrison, our widowed neighbor who's been adrift since his wife, Ellen, passed 6 months ago. Tom's lonely, always seeking conversation, and Karen exploits that, showing him photos on her phone, images of a yoga instructor living a lavish life, not Emily. Tom nods, concerned, as Karen spins a tale of Emily's expensive yoga retreats and disregard for working families. She posts vague rants on the neighborhood board. Some residents think wealth excuses them from courtesy. Neighbors start giving Emily the cold shoulder, whispering as she passes. Tom even approaches me, coffee in hand, worried about Emily's $500 meditation weekends. I'm stunned. Emily's never touched yoga. But arguing feels futile. Tom's too earnest, too manipulated. Emily, meanwhile, leans into the lie. She carries a yoga mat to the car, stretches on the lawn where Karen can see, winking at me when I call her out. "Research reinforcement," she says. Karen holds a backyard information session, displaying photos of this mystery yoga instructor, railing about wealth inequality and behavioral disrespect. Tom's her star witness, nodding as neighbors by the narrative. I'm watching from our deck, torn between laughter and outrage. They're vilifying a woman who doesn't exist, while Emily plays them like a maestro. By Thursday, Karen's confidence is stratospheric. She's posting daily, sharing more fake photos, planning real accountability. I overhear her and Tom strategizing on the sidewalk, Karen waving papers, Tom taking notes. Next week, she'll face consequences, Karen says. Another letter arrives, angrier, demanding the $300 fine before escalation. Emily files it with that local predator ready to pounce. She'll call the authorities soon, Emily predicts. That's when it gets fun. Monday morning, Karen delivers. She's on the phone, loud enough for the block to hear. I'm reporting a wealthy resident using privilege to dodge compliance. She's got a folder photos, reports, a manifesto ready for the police. Tom's there, nodding, fully bought in. I call to Emily, who's getting ready for work. Right on schedule, she says unfazed. Officer Daniel Brooks arrives, looking like he's braced for a routine squabble. Karen and Tom pounce, presenting their evidence. Karen's in her element. This influencer posts about vacations while ignoring community rules. Tom adds, she's standoffish, parks carelessly, ignores guidelines. Officer Brooks nods, reviewing the folder of wrong photos, then approaches our door. Emily answers, calm as ever. I need your ID, ma'am, Brooks says. Karen's whispering to Tom, expecting a showdown. Emily opens her wallet, revealing her concealed carry permit and detective badge, gleaming like a plot twist. Brooks' eyes widen. Detective Parker? He salutes, posture shifting to respect. I recognize you from department briefings. Karen's jaw drops. Tom stumbles back, horrified. Neighbors gather, whispering, she's a cop. The street's alive with shock as Karen's crusade implodes. She stammers, she's a cop? With a gun permit. Brooks, professional but firm, explains civil disputes don't need police unless there's real crime. Karen's left clutching her useless folder as he drives off. That evening, Emily spills the full story over wine. I knew she had the wrong person from day one, she says. For 18 months, she's been investigating Karen's HOA fraud $25,000 stolen from 15 families through fake fines, targeting the vulnerable, new families, busy parents, the elderly. Emily baited her with the parking violation to expose the full scheme. She thought she was hunting a yoga instructor. I let her dig her own grave. Tom arrives the next morning, sleepless, with a folder of his own messages showing Karen's manipulation, exploiting his grief over Ellen. Other victims come forward, Mrs. Larson fined for tall grass, that wasn't. Then Gwynn's charged for a non-compliant mailbox identical to others. The Patels hit for a non-existent flower bed rule. Karen's operation was surgical fake violations, immediate payment demands, intimidation to silence resistance. Friday's neighborhood meeting is electric. 40 neighbors pack the community center, where Tom and I set up timeline boards and evidence displays. Tom opens, voice raw. I was manipulated into harassing a detective. I'm ashamed and will make it right. Victims share stories, each one damning. $300 fines for nothing, threats of liens, emotional manipulation. Karen, isolated in the back, tries to deflect. This is mob justice. I demand a lawyer. But the evidence her own posts, messages, and victim accounts overwhelms her. She makes a final desperate move, calling state police on speaker, accusing Emily of misconduct. The operator shuts her down. Observing behavior isn't misconduct. Got evidence. Karen's silence is crushing. The community votes. Karen must repay $25,000 within 30 days, apologize to each victim, and leave the county or face fraud, extortion, and false report charges. She breaks down, admitting to each family. I made false claims to steal from you. Her house is sold to cover restitution. Her reputation and finances are ruined. She moves to a lonely apartment, cut off from the community she betrayed. 6 months later, our neighborhood thrives. New owners in Karen's house, both cops, fly a thin blue line flag. Tom volunteers, protecting others from scams. Emily's a hero, her service celebrated at block parties. Her approach patience, evidence, community justice inspires HOA reforms region-wide. Karen's legacy? A cautionary tale in fraud training manuals. She thought she could intimidate a nobody. Instead, she called the cops on a detective who'd been watching her for 18 months. Sometimes, the best way to catch a crook is to let them think they're the hunter.